Hey guys, Crusty Old Crow back again doing another tactical perspective. This is the fifth one and the last one for the Dragonfly Haslab project that I'm going to do, or the zombie fly as I call it, as I have decorated it. The XH-1 assault helicopter. This thing was badass, worth every cent. Came with 4 figs. You can watch those reviews over my previous tactical perspectives. I'm talking, of course, of number 142 Wild Bill, 143 Ripcord, 144 Glenda, and 145 Crazy Legs. Night Forest there. You guys can watch those reviews. I've done a bit of recording here today. I'm going to take you, instead of doing a head to tail file card review with this today, I'm going to take you nose to tail and rotors down to skids. Over this vehicle. We'll talk about some of the things I picked up on there, some of the play features, and some of the opinions I have on what they did. We'll talk a little bit of where they got their inspirations from, and most importantly, some cross-play with our current G.I. Joe classified line for displays and all that other stuff. I'm going to show you 2 new crew members I made for my, well, not made, but I decided belonged with my my zombie fly. Being a zombie fly, not a dragonfly, I don't need to necessarily have Wild Bill in that cockpit. I can have a whole new crew, and I picked a new crew to go with Wild Bill in this thing while it's on display. That's a new gunner and a new skid rider to hang out on that winch. So you're going to find out who they are as we watch the video. And don't forget, guys, if you like the tactical perspective, or you're starting to get down with what I was doing with the good, the bad, the ugly, abroad toy line reviews, don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe. It always helps the channel. It's absolutely free. We'll get that algorithm going, and it helps me appear in new veins on YouTube to help find the like-minded that have already joined our tribe here in Crow Country. All right, so please help us out by doing that, and most importantly, participate in the comments. Did you get the Dragonfly? What were your impressions? What most impressed you about it? But what I really want to know today is, who's filling your gunner's hole? That's the front. Right? If you don't have Wild Bill as your pilot for yours, who's in the pilot hole? That's the back. And if you've got any dedicated skid riders or repellers or fast ropers and winch cable riders on yours. All right, let me know that in the comments. Let's have some fun with this. Thanks very much for joining, and let's go have a look at this Dragonfly. No, the zombie fly. All right, let's go. Yep, I chose the zombie fly. It's back from the dead, and it's even harder to kill. And I also am a big fan of White Zombie and Rob Zombie, right down to his movies from his music. But here you go, guys. This is how they present it when you get it all out of the shipping container. We'll have a look at that box. Some beautiful box art portraying, of course, the Dragonfly from what we grew up with. Chips and salsa, rocket pods on the side, that mean, toothy stare. And, of course, they showed these in formation. They want you to multi-buy these, right? But beautiful box art. This looks great on display anywhere you put it. And later in the video, you'll see what's on the bottom side. That's really on display there, but there's the top art, and there's your Krusty. All right, inside you'll get 3 boxes. The first box, of course, is your 4-tier unlocks: Crazy Legs, Glenda, Ripcord, and Wild Bill. And one thing you'll notice on these figures is each of them has a different icon on these new boxes, these Haslab boxes. There's Crazy Leg. You can see he's got Night Force. There's Glenda. She is Commando Heroics, the Mexican version, or the Spanish, I should say. Ripcord, of course, is Night Force again. And then we've got Wild Bill, who's the Dragonfly XH-1 affiliate there. So all those icons just unique to the boxes, and we'll show those for a second there. You can see they have the Haslab written on the boxes. These boxes aren't sealed because they're put right in the box, right in the shipper, and sealed all up as a whole. So this isn't about the figures, this is about the Dragonfly. Let's have a look at how it all goes together here. So when you get it out of the box, here's your baggie full of instructions, and you've got your 3 foil sheets of stickers for your thing, for your Dragonfly, okay? The top of the first box, it's got your 25, I call it the 25 mil, they call it 16 centimeter, it's whatever. The main cannon there that you can put on there. You've got your rotor blades, they're separated, and you're gonna have to install those yourselves. We'll show it how it goes together later. There's your fins with the Dragonfly emblem on them. You don't have to put a sticker there, that's printed on. You've got your 2 main missiles there for the sides, and you got your blast effects, okay? As well, you'll get your also rocket pods there, and more blast effects. Let's see, was that it in that box? Yeah. So then when you remove it, you've got your main body of the Dragonfly itself, all nice and vacuum sealed and protected. You'll notice the skids have a separator on there, a clear transparent separator that keeps them from breaking. That's tied off. You'll have to liberate that. You'll see that later. The tail fin is separated. That the male and female ends insert method to put those in there, and you'll see it's actually relatively simple to put together. I was actually really content with how easy this was to slap together. Yeah, I really can't say enough. If you've never bought a Haslab before, they make them very user friendly, and I'll leave it at that. Here's the other box. You get in that, you get your main your main missile pods there for the sides, sponsons. Then another option you have there. You get your rotor blade for which everything's going to insert into. You'll have to add that yourself. This isn't like the old toy. It doesn't have an auto spin on there. You've got to spin them yourself. But there's your parts of your stand and your base. Some great support with those base, and of course the side sponsons to which all your weapons and your winch and your cannons will attach, and they'll slap onto the sides. There's little lights on there that should be electronic, but they're not, just because the wiring would get too complicated. But you could tell if somebody had the gift for wiring lights, that would be something they might want to look at, is how to wire the top light and the side lights for that Dragonfly later. But it's a really easy, simple thing to put all together, guys. So we're going to go now into the stickers. Just give you a glimpse of what kind of stickers you have in there. If you wanted to do something traditional or something less traditional, you get all the options here. So different kind of little backgrounds. Now, a lot of this is just for collectability, right? Like, you're not going to slap all different types of stickers on your Dragonfly, or maybe you are. I don't know. I don't judge. It's your money. You parted with it. You can do whatever you want. But you've got your different kind of teeth on there for both left and right sides. Everything is mirrored. Your chips and salsa, and this is all for the Dragonfly. But you can see a lot of Yeehaw Club and a lot of shout outs to the country and western theme. And then, of course, you've got your zombie theme, which is what I went with. In fact, I didn't use all of the stickers for my zombie. I did leave one, the longest one at the bottom of the one sheet. This one here at the bottom of this frame, I left that on there. I just felt like it was a bit too much after a while. But you definitely get your choices, lots of freedom to choose and do your Dragonfly your way, guys. So just continue to have a gander at those stickers. One thing I will say is the putting stickers over rivets. You'll see on mine, I've got some bubbles on my eyepieces on mine. It's just things you can smooth out as you go. All right, so now we're just going to show you, even a dummy can put these things together. Okay, watch how quickly I do this. This is in real time, not at all fast forward. All right, this was after 4 cups of coffee. You can see I'm going to throw the batteries in there. I've got my Phillips screwdriver. There's that retaining piece I was talking about earlier. That's going to keep your Dragonfly skids from crushing. So maybe hang on to that if you ever want to pack and move your house and you want to protect your Dragonfly. I'd keep on to that. There I am attaching all the side sponsons and the rear. And now I've slapped the rotor all together. Woo, I'm quick. And the back fins, yeah, man, I'm pretty efficient here, clearly. Those little yellow pop-in stabilizing fins, there's your main rotors, simple as that. All right, now I'm going to put those brackets on. You have brackets. These brackets, you could take them or leave them. I find they actually cover one of the lights when you have these missiles on the side there. So if you display it without the missiles, you'll see another set of green lights under there. And then you got your winch and all the other stuff. You can see I quickly threw all that together. Your anti-tank rockets or whatever they are, missiles, your big missiles, your bunker busters there. And yeah, the canopy, this is the one thing I'll tell you guys, be gentle with your canopies. Pay attention to your hinge systems and how they work, okay? You can easily do some damage if you're not paying attention. Here I am slapping that base together. There is nothing to this base, but man, it is really good for weight. You can see it uses a 2-pin system there. All right, so how we're going to do this is from nose to fin. I am going to try and break down everything I've observed on this. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time at the nose, working my way to the cockpit, towards the middle, and I'm going to point out everything I've noticed about that cockpit interior and all that other stuff. Then I'll move on to the side sponsons and the main body a bit. I'll probably overlap to where I'm talking about the fin, like the tail end and everything. I'll probably overlap that a little bit with the main body discussion, all right? And I'll talk about some of these weapon features that it all comes with. So, the Dragonfly X1, here you have it on display, and you can see that nose cannon on there. That turns left and right, and the gun depresses and elevates just beautifully. One thing I did notice is it doesn't present any, whatchamacallit, optics, right? Like no nodular, no thermal, no IR, no kind of optics at all for that gun to relay. So it hasn't been modernized. This is very much based off the old designs of the Dragonfly, but you can see some room for Gridiron to start having some fun with some concepts. All right, here we have me. The interior lighting is all towards the front, right? Everything that is lit up is in that main body compartment that you first pull out of the box, but you've got some interior lighting, these beautiful dashboard, the flight controls and gunnery controls, lit in that thermal night optics green, really highlights the characters inside the cockpit, and you'll see it towards the end as I turn out the lights and show you what it looks like in lights out. And then you've got another set of lights under there. We'll see that in a minute, but there's Wild Bill's flight control view, and you can see it shining off his glasses there. It's just kind of a really cool vibe when you see this. I noticed this when I looked at the his tank too. It's that same feeling of satisfaction, knowing all those controls are mirroring some real life stuff there. These side hatches, they clamp down and you have to pop them into place. And then there's another pop up. There you go. I can pull that whole thing. This is how you want to pull it up so you can seat your figures. Now, seating your figures is going to have a technique. I'm going to share it with you, and it goes around this joystick. It's a ball and socket joystick. Guys, once you get that two-piece buckle undone, you've got to fit your figure in through the loop and legs down. The best way to do this is, as I'm going to show you here, I'm going to pop that joystick out of there because that's what they're meant to do. I'm just showing you also they've got some side controls for how you pose it. You have the hand on that elevation and the throttle controls and all that. There you can see I've popped that out. That's going to help you set your figure in through that bottom set of loops before you put the top of the harness over them. It helps you put your legs in without knocking that joystick around. They clearly did this to prevent you from breaking your throttle control joysticks, trying to put figures in there. And that's why I chose that 60th anniversary to be my gunner. That Marine sniper there, female, that variant of her, I think she looks perfect as the gunner for Wild Bill. And she fits through her seatbelt loop very easily. Wild Bill's the same story, guys. And you can see I focused on that bracket there. If you pay attention to the right side, there's a little groove out there. Some people thought that was broken. I think it was intentionally done there so you can put this canopy in and out if you need to. Conversely, if Gridiron ever wanted to replace this canopy with something more up-to-date or cool, or even Hasbro did, you had your means of taking it out. But again, you don't want to really do that because you're going to start abusing the clip system that's in play. Once these things break, there's no going back. I found that out with my technical canopy on the Hess. So be careful popping things in and out. Make sure they're secure. Pay attention to your brackets when you're taking figures in and out. Everything here has a lifespan if you use it too much. There you can see I'm using that nose cannon. It's a tri-barrel gun, rotating gun. This is the one where you're going to need your own blast effects from your old collection because the blast effects that they include for the Dragonfly do not work with that gun, but it is recessed for the ones you've gotten in other sets previously. So there's a bit of cross compatibility there. There you go. I've pressed the button 3 times. The first time's for the cockpit lights, second time's for the basically the side, the forward lights, and then the searchlight bottom, or as we call it, the moonbeam light there, the moonlight. That's the third press. All right. This cannon, as best as I can tell, it doesn't rotate at all, but it's got no range of motion issues. The 2 side cannons are an interesting assembly. what you've got here is a very free floating piece for that barrel. The barrel can move in and out freely. You'll see me demonstrating that in this video. And then you've got an interior play function for diorama and posing. When this thing is landed, you can have guys doing maintenance on the weapons. You know, they're getting in there, they're ratcheting up the new ammo in there. You know, all the inner workings are exposed. There's some good paint apps on there, a lot of details into that. And then there's that barrel, and that barrel, like I said, separate piece. Here you go. You can see me moving it in and out. So you can get into some pretty cool effects as a photographer with the blast effects and the gun action, and you have some recoil going on there. All right. The ammo that the thing is using there is different than the ammo that you're getting on the side cannon. I'll only speak to the side cannon. There you go. I'm fitting in that blast effect from a different character a while back there. And you can see that's how that's intended to work. So, like I said, cross compatibility. All right, these are other blast effects I'm holding up that you can consider using for that tri-barrel Gatling gun. But for the rest of the main armaments, you got to use the blast effects that are included. It's a different diameter for the pinhole. And there you go. You don't have to twist them. I'm just trying to do all this one hand. And you guys would be surprised. In this video, you'll see me doing a lot of replacement parts with one hand while I'm holding the camera. It's that simple. It's user-friendly toy here. All right. So yeah, mirror side, you get two of those blast effects so you can have it barreling down on a target, just lighting up that enemy defensive position. And this thing is about to rain death and destruction on everything. All right. You got a front couple of posts there to add figures on to hang off the sides if you wanted to. Although this is an attack helicopter, and we need to get back to that idea here. This is not a troop delivery helicopter. This is an attack helicopter. Hanging off that side is a war story hero tale that doesn't often get told. It has happened, but posing your figures on there, that's more for when it's landed and they're climbing up, I think. All right. But lots of play function just in that front area. On both sides, you have that gun compartment. You can see if you cut your stickers, you can lay them over there. And then all the lighting and electronics, like I said, it's all housed in there with those AAA batteries and all the wiring in that one spot. On the bottom of the gun, you can see that little Dragonfly emblem there. That's easy to miss. And there's the battery housing compartment, like I said, little Phillips there, and 3 batteries. Make sure you pay attention to how the batteries go in. And then the tail inserted there. There's a lot of paneling and details on these tails that looks like they should have function at some point, but they don't. You know what I mean? There you can see how my sticker, I've got to smooth that out a little bit. The yellow fins, I've got them facing the other direction. You'll see me turn them. The little tail end function, I think, is adorable. It doesn't do anything, but it's cool. I like how all these fins are independent moving or paired to each other on the case of the yellow ones and the stabilizers, but how these are independent. That's a really cool little function for just how you present it in the turns and the pitch. There's those big engine thrusters with all this was stenciled on that Joe logo, the Beware of Blast. There you can see I've added some more zombie stickers. Now these engines, again, both sides, those engine compartments, they pop open and you can see some beautiful brass heat effect on that engine. That thing's been cooked to the point of the purple staining. It looks really nice. I mean, aside from making it look oily and leaky, they've nailed this as far as the paint app for that. Again, on the other side, you can see the gun features there, all that gun metal, all those functions in there. Nothing actually works, like moves around in those pieces, but some great attention to detail. These side sponsons, you click them in, you can see again, more stenciling like the Dragonfly and everything. My sticker hanging off, I can fix that. All right, there's that green light I was talking about. This isn't wired into the system, so this doesn't light up, although it looks like it should. It is a nice paint up of green with a different kind of clarity plastic added to it, and it's underneath this here guided missile as well. You can see the green there. I'm showing you the wishbone on there, but there you see the light under there. That's hidden away when you have this bracket on there. So, yeah, I mean, you could get rid of the bracket. Again, I could see potential for Gridiron coming out with stuff to fit into these brackets. They're simple design, lots of compatibility. Yeah, there's more of that zombie stickers on the multiple rocket pods there. Those are a really fun little piece, and all of this stuff is pretty simple to exchange and put in. I haven't checked to really make sure. I don't think the rocket pods really can go where the 4 missiles can go, but the bunker busters or whatever they are. But the 4 missiles is where you're going to replace your winch and your 25 mil and the ammo chute, which I'll show you later. But there's the tabs. You see, I got that out with one hand, and I'll put that back in with one hand, no problem. But here I'm showing you basically how that whole system works, and yeah, you can't put the 25 there. It's not designed that way. Plus that thing's going to need the feed chute. Here I'm showing you the I call them bunker busters. I don't know what the ordnance is called, guys. I'm not a pilot, and I don't lob rounds from or missiles or rockets at anything. I was a tanker and I was recce. Okay, so there you can see these are the exact same ones that we get with the Hiss tank, right? Same wishbone edition. Just now it's a different bracket. It's not the side mounted sponsons that we found on the Hiss tank, but they are the exact same missile, and you'll see I'll pull one off the Hiss tank in a second and put it beside there to show you. But again, very simple, easy designs. You can see lots of potential for a company like Gridiron or 3D printers to have a lot of fun, maybe printing up a lot of different weapons. And there's your Cobra Hiss tank rocket there from that one. Again, some good reuse there. Even in Haslabs, they're going to use some reuse where they can, right? Yeah, there's the red light. You just saw it there. Oh, I wanted to point this out. If they wanted to turn this into a longbow and put some reconnaissance, surveillance equipment on there at the top of that, well, put pictures of a longbow up there. That's, again, another spot where I would look for add-ons to show up is up there. But yeah, definitely some action on the bottoms. You can see a lot of aftermarket potential there based off those little designs. All right, so where are we going next? I'm trying to remember how I recorded this. Oh yeah, I'm showing you how they go in. It's easy. See, I'm doing this with one hand, and I just press and clip. And that's how these things come on and off. It's that easy, guys. I'll end up showing you that with the winch system as well and the 25. But I've got to show you, and I can't really show you very well, how the hard shoots for the 25 ammo goes on. Here I'm showing you again how these brackets go on, but I'm going to show you these brackets have a second feature, and that's not just for these missiles, but also for the blast effects that are included that everybody really seems to enjoy. These particular ones, these mount on there, and they envelop that bracket. All right, so in order to have them on there, yeah, clearly it's all meant to be codependent, but you can see how it's recessed so that they just swallow that whole bracket system in the smoke effect trail, right? And these things have like a very interesting, nice glow and transparency shine. I could see somebody working hard to add light effects to these one day. If they really wanted to wire this thing really up, they could. But yeah, overall, that was a really interesting play feature. It really lends a lot to the storytelling of your helicopter when you put it up there and you can see it lobbing missiles at targets. And of course, they've got a backblast fin that you'll end up seeing on the other rocket at some point in some of the photos. That goes into the back of the rocket for when it hasn't left its bracket. It's just engaging. I'm not a big fan of blast effects. I get what everybody likes about them and everything like that, but they're not a huge deal breaker for me. They're just snapshots in a moment of time that just tell part of a story, but they don't make or break a model for me. They're neat, but I have this thing about putting a whole bunch of money into them. But when the thing is well constructed and it's a great project like a HasLab, I can excuse them being slid in there because it's all about presentation, right? So here we have that, they call it a 16 centimeter cannon on the box there. This to me is it's a 25 mil. I'm looking at the ammo, and you can see that hard shoot that mounts in, and it's a two piece. You've got to kind of balance these out. Now the cannon can go up and down, but that bracket is stationary once that hard shoot in there, and that is Sabo, guys. That is, it looks like APFSDS, armor piercing, fin stabilized, discarding Sabo. And that's what we use on our Coyotes here in Canada. It's what the Bradleys, I think, had as well. It's a very common ammo. But there's other ones that can go in there called frangible ammunition, which is meant for anti-aircraft soft skin, and HEI, which is high explosive impact or something like that. Pardon me. It's a more of a combustive round. Anyways, Sabo is your common dart. It's the large uranium darts that these things are firing, and that will rip apart most soft skin and lightly armored vehicles, and it'll just create havoc. I love this gun. But sorry guys, that's not an educated answer on what that gun is. It's just what it looks like to me. I'm a big fan of it. Here you got the winch, and now you're going to see who my winch rider is as I show you how that functions. You don't get a lot of slack on that rope or that line at all, but there you go, guys. Some people want wolf spiders, some people want other troops that came with this. To me, this is what goes and picks up torpedo on a very black ops mission. You can see he's got his little camera there that I stole off the 60th anniversary. You can picture this thing swooping in and just picking him up out of the water and bringing him back home, right? So that was, to me, the rider I wanted. But the winch feature, it's a neat little ad, but like I said, you can see I'm cranking them down now. Not a whole lot of slack, not meant to be. It's basically enough to cover the length of the flight stand, right? But yeah, the reason I wanted to point this out is that harness that you see me putting on torpedo there is the one that comes with Glenda. It's a universal harness allowing you to put any character you want into the Dragonfly or Zombiefly story you're telling. All right, but just know you're gonna have a little problem with the backpacks the way it lined up. You can watch mine or anybody else's Glenda review, and they probably are hitting on that same point. It does run a lot of interference with backpacks, but the winch is another great play feature happening in that area there. Here I'm going to show you my Zombiefly base. It's just a 3-tab click system. This base is sturdy as hell. It's sturdier than I thought it would be. No weight inside of it. It's empty. I thought it would be a sanded, weighted base. But that would kill shipping and handling even more, I think. This thing was expensive enough. But you can see I've just clicked it in there. I tried doing that with one hand, but I was on a very softer surface. This makeshift table that you see me using, so I had to start the camera over. I was just clicked in, but there's the 2 tabs, and it is sloped angular, so you can show your Dragonfly on an attack approach. And there on either side of the battery compartment, you can see those mounting holes that they want you in there. Again, with one hand, I will gently recess or fill the recesses there and show you guided on there. You can see how this sits, and you can see, like I said, this isn't a sturdy platform I have it on. In fact, what you don't see right now is that base is on a very bad angle, like more than 15 to 20 degree angle. And it is leaning that model to its left a bit. And I have to pick it up and move it right here. Because I was like, is it going to tip? But no, it doesn't tip. And there I changed the angle a little bit. It's now more flat and level, but that was a really good, that's a really good base. I was really surprised at how sturdy it actually was. So you can feel some assurances. It's not going to be the easiest thing to knock over, on a windy day in your house. I don't know. Anyways, there's that red light. I said that one should be wired as well. I'm surprised they didn't wire that one. For lights, I played with the light button, which is right behind that red button, and couldn't do it. There's the brackets that you need to watch out for the gunner and the pilot. Those side opening brackets, that's exactly what happened to my Hiss. Those cracked, so I'm careful. That red light, yeah, like I said, surprised. Not surprised the green ones weren't lit up because that's an attachment piece, but that's core to where the wiring is.
I'm surprised they didn't light it up the way that they did with the searchlights, the forward lights, and the thermal. I'm sorry, not the thermal, but the flight controls and the gunnery controls. And I'm going to cover my thumb up from here in the pictures, but there you go. There's the button, and you can see. So you've got 3-function button system. And what I was experimenting with here, guys, was, the 1-click, 2-click, 3-click, what that does for all the lights. I'm trying to show you here. But if I noticed with my His tank, if you hold that button down for a good 10 to 20 seconds, what you'll get with your His tank is a repeating on-off cycle. It'll go on for like 10 to 20 seconds, stay off for 10 to 20 seconds, and keep repeating that, as far as I know, indefinitely. And that's just if you hold the button down for quite a little bit there, like 10 to 20 seconds. I didn't see that with the Dragonfly. I held that button down for a little while. It didn't change any of the cycles. So now what you're going to see me do is I'm going to turn out the lights, and I'm going to show you how that all looks and how cool those guys look inside there. That green really lights it up. So I've been using this as just something to focus my eyes on. When I go to bed, I stare up at this thing, and this thing is shining down on my His tank, and my His tank is often shining across at that. And it's a nice red-green contrast, right? But you can see, you can make out your characters brilliantly in that light. Those searchlights illuminate, and you can see the blast effects. They kind of shine with the way that the lights are positioned a little bit. They're noticeable there with the canopy open. Look how bright and glorious that all is. And of course, she's not looking the right way, so I'm going to turn her head because I want to see how she looks with her Oakleys facing that light, right? We saw what it did with Wild Bill. Does it do anything with hers? Not really. She still looks cool, though. I think that was the right choice for my gunner. Anyways, guys, let's get back to some other stuff here. Important stuff like that nose to fin, rotor to skid, overall review, that play grade, tack grade, engine to say quad grade. All right, so for the play grade on this, I'm going with 5. I think it's a default on a set that comes with this many accessories for the vehicle, some lighting effects, some play function, and I'll talk about that in a second, and then all the figures. All right, so it's a gratuitous 5 for that. However, it's a 5 with an asterisk. And that asterisk is that this is an attack helicopter, not a transportation or cargo helicopter. So the play factor for this is very limited to what's going on in the forward area. All the focus is on the side sponsons and the lighting and the forward-facing weaponry. So when your figures are interacting with your Haslab projects, you want to try and have as many working with the large scale as you can for shelf reasons, right? Like you want it to be the centerpiece. So, I mean, aside from putting characters on the skids that don't belong there, really what you're looking at is a vehicle only meant for 2. And it's not that much more serviceable than, say, the Flight Pod, which is for 1, the Stinger, which is for 2 to 4 or 5 figures, so with the Stinger, or the His tank, which was, anywhere between 4 to, I think I fit 7 figures on there easily. The Dragonfly, at best, you're going to get 2 to 4. Right, and 4 is going to look very awkward. Maybe 5 if you have someone hanging off that winch as well, right? But what you'll get is very cluttered, and it'll stop looking as much fun, I think, over time, especially when you want to start using your missile effects. It just starts looking very crowded. This is not Hasbro's fault with the design. This is just how it is with an attack helicopter. A Super Cobra or an Apache Longbow is not going to go into the battlefield with a bunch of troops hanging off the side like it's some sort of Special Forces doom buggy. If you want a helicopter like that, you want the Bell 109 Little Bird, I believe it's called. The Little Bird is the perfect little SWAT helicopter for, putting 4 to 6 figures on there. And honestly, if Hasbro doesn't have one for the Joe line, that's great. That just opens the floor for a company like Valaverse to make one for their line, and raging success. This helicopter is an amazing project. Haslab did a great job with it, but the play factor to me just wasn't there strongly. So while it's a 5 for the figures, in fact, it's actually just a 3 for play factor. Tack grade, I am going to give this thing a hard 5. It's got so many options. for dual roles, either as a ground infantry attack with the missile pods and the machine guns and all of that, or anti-armor for the rockets, or anti-air with the missiles. You know, you've got a few different attack features with this thing. Giving it identities and different ways of troop identification marks with the different stickers and different personalities have no tactical bearing, but all the print that's on the thing is tactical sense enough. It's got all the right stuff and bells and whistles, and of course that cockpit and the way it's lined out, there's a tactical sense for how to get your figures in there and not break your Haslab, and they took a lot of consideration in there, and I think Hasbro needs to be commended for the way they designed that cockpit especially. So I'm going to give it a 5 on that tack. It is, after all, basically a Super Cobra for Joe. Just didn't want to deal with a tail rotor. We're good. Let's go with the je ne sais quoi. I feel like Haslab, it's unfair to give it too much of a grade because they're supposed to bring the dream projects to life, and they have done very well. I think where I would say their je ne sais quoi was the brilliance in the way they opened up kit features that came with different characters, such as Glenda. That's a universal feature for anyone in your Joe line. I think they really opened up their line, and they gave you something for your night wolf spider to hang off if you so like, or gave a little bit of life to Torpedo as I needed him on my shelf. I wouldn't say by any means that any of this is perfect, but I can see a lot of potential in this. It's a very satisfying purchase. I am very content with where my money went with this. And the je ne sais quoi factor, I guess, in this is, it created a lot of identity for itself, and the characters were surprising on how they were laid out. And please do check out my other reviews on those characters to know more about what I mean with that. But I am curious to see just what some of these aftermarket companies will do with a helicopter like this. Anyways, guys, that's it for this tactical perspective. I've covered everything I needed to cover with the Dragonfly. Anything else I forgot, I'm just going to leave it. And you guys can hear me in Down South 77, 3-star draw, talk about it on the next Backyard Battlefield. We're going to go over the Dragonfly and some stuff, the impressions that we've had about it. Thanks very much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.